What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and welcome to the hype video for the Philadelphia Eagles versus Atlanta Falcons NFC Divisional Round matchup. This is the hype video. We're going to go through the top 10 things to keep an eye on, matchups, and everything in between for this matchup. And I'm going to try to break down keys to the Philadelphia Eagles finding success and somehow winning this game. So let's just jump right into it. Looking at the Atlanta Falcons game against the Rams, I think the one big takeaway from this game was that the Atlanta Falcons defense is getting hot at the right time, which is our number 10 breakdown. Is that, the Falcons defense looks really, really good right now. And the Falcons are pretty much taking the role of Seattle Seahawks this year. The Seahawks are your perennial playoff team that doesn't really play well or consistent football throughout the season, but they get hot near the end and somehow find a way in the playoffs, and then they're a dangerous team to go up against. That is very much the Atlanta Falcons this year. And now, especially against the Rams, they're really outside of like 2 or 3 big runs to Todd Gurley. They shut down Gurley, who is, if not MVP, probably going to be the runner-up for the MVP award. And that really explosive Rams offense didn't have a lot of explosive plays. And even though the scoreline wasn't really one-sided, I felt for that whole game that the Falcons were never really not in control. And the biggest part was their defense. Their offense is what you think gets them to the table with Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Freeman, Coleman, all those guys, Sanu, everyone in between. But it's the Falcons defense right now that's firing on all cylinders. That as an Eagle fan looking at this matchup, that is my biggest concern. Nick Foles going up against that Falcons defense. Number 9 is Tevin Coleman is historically the running back build that the Eagles struggle against. Devontae Freeman kind of plays into what the Eagles defense wants you to do in terms of running back, running between the tackles, try to run between your guards, up inside. Tevin Coleman, the scat back, the guy that can get outside, the guy that they use primarily in screen passes and just pass plays in general. Those are the guys, for some reason, I don't know why, even going back to Billy Davis before Jim Schwartz got here, we've always struggled against those types of running backs. I don't know if it's just our open field tackling ability or just, it's probably that, but more so than Devontae Freeman, who's probably going to have, obviously will lead the backfield in carries. Tevin Coleman is the worst mismatch from that very talented Falcons backfield that I am a little bit worried about. Go to number 8 is Julio Jones versus Jalen Mills. Now, I made a tweet even before the Falcons officially won that game, when it was pretty much in hand, that I'm having nightmares of Julio Jones going up and just embarrassing Jalen Mills. Now, I want to say this with all clarity, that I hope to God that Jalen Mills is not left out on I. I hope to God we have either safety help or Patrick Robinson double teams or something. Like Malcolm Jenkins and Jalen Mills going against Julio Jones. I think we could not get murdered by him if that's what we're going by. But you never know, man. Like, I don't know if they're going to have Darby try to match up with speed with Julio or what, but I'm assuming it's going to be Jalen Mills on the opening drive going up against Julio Jones. And like, for whatever reason this year, I've seen it. They just stick no safety help Jalen Mills, and they bite on that sluggo route. They bite on all of the wide receivers that do like a trick feint or something like that, and then carry on the route. All of our receivers, even Darby is guilty of it, jumping on the route. So I don't know if they're going to get Sidney Jones more playing time. Like, that's something they've decided during this 2 weeks off. But having Jalen Mills on Julio Jones is terrifying right now. Jalen Mills is a safety playing corner because we don't have the depth right now. We will next year. Our secondary going forward, I think, is very, very promising. But this year, it's just, the product of Sidney Jones getting hurt and stuff like that. Because we saw Sidney Jones against the Cowboys. He played a very solid game, and I'm very optimistic that next year our opening cornerbacks are going to be Ronald Darby and Sidney Jones. But Julio Jones versus Jalen Mills, there's no way that it's not going to, at least one night this week, keep me up just because I'm having, nightmares. Going to point number 7 is Falcons are a dome team, and they're playing in the terrible weather at Philadelphia. It's going to be very, very cold. And the reality of it is, even though Nick Foles, the last 2 home games, or the 2 games of the season that were played at Lincoln Financial Field, Nick Foles did not look good. The other quarterbacks have looked as bad. That's the only positive. Dak Prescott and Derek Carr both did not look good at all. Wasn't even like, yeah, they looked all right. They both had terrible games. And both those guys, you would probably put them in the pool along with like Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, as like the next wave of big-time quarterbacks in the NFL. Both those guys struggled. So Matt Ryan coming in, he's a dome team. I know he's always from Philly, but let's be honest, he plays inside for, half a season plus. They're going to struggle. So that is kind of the one thing that, falling off from the Julio Jones versus Jalen Mills point is that the passing game probably isn't going to be on point for the Falcons. It's going to be the Eagles' run game and defense versus the Falcons' run game and defense. I think that is a positive, you would assume, because, you don't want to be trying to trade touchdowns with Matt Ryan, Mohamed Sanu, and Julio Jones when you have Nick Foles playing as bad as he has, and then Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar. So, Doe team, they're not going to like the cold weather, which certainly plays kinda as an advantage to the Eagles. Like I said, it's not like the home field advantage has done anything the last 2 weeks. Philadelphia's offenses look very, very bad, so it's not like, oh, well, we know how to play in the cold and they don't. But at least the cold weather kind of mitigates the much better Falcons offense right now and puts us on a more even playing field. Going to point number 6 is that the Eagles' defense, when it comes to stopping the run, they're probably going to show up. If we have any chance to win this game, it means our run defense is going to keep us in it. And Atlanta, very much like the Dallas Cowboys, sets up a lot of their passes off play action. Like, you know, there's some teams that can do a fine bit of both. I find more often than not, anytime that's not really directed, just a straight up throw it up to Julio. Like, anytime Mohamed Sanu gets a big play, anytime Taylor Gabriel gets a big play, it's set up because they've established a run with Devontae Freeman, and the other team bites on the play action pass because they have to stay honest. Philadelphia should be able to stop that run attack, so then they won't have to worry about the play action down deep and really can just focus on containing Julio Jones primarily. And I think that this would be a major key if Philadelphia is able to eventually secure victory. Going to point number 5 is Atlanta is horrible in the red zone. I've watched probably 4 or 5 Falcon games, and every game they're not converting in the red zone. Every game they're just questionable play calling from Sarkisian, lack of execution. Like, the fact that Julio Jones for his career in Atlanta is, you know, gets like 5 touchdowns a year is beyond me. He should be getting way more activity in the red zone. I don't know really what the answer to that is, but what I do know is that the Atlanta Falcons are kicking a whole lot of field goals, settling for 3 and not 7, which again, add into the cold weather where the passing is going to be tough, add it to the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles run defense is really the strength of our defense. Field goals, bend don't break defense that we've had all year, it's kind of going to help us out here a little bit. So that is a positive for the Philadelphia Eagles. Going to point number 4, it's obvious. Run the damn ball. Jai, as a member of the Miami Dolphins, got 130 yards against the Falcons earlier in the year. He can make big-time plays. Corey Clement, change of pace back. He can make some plays. I swear to God, I'm going to have the biggest rage video if on the opening drive, LeGarrette Blount is starting as a running back. LeGarrette Blount will, oh yeah, on first down, 1st and 10, LeGarrette Blount runs for 2 yards, and they might give it to him on 2nd down, run for 1 yard, setting up 3rd and medium. That is not the territory you want Nick Foles to live in. You want Nick Foles living in 3rd and shorts to be able to convert, because Nick Foles usually does take the easy pass, the check down, and that can get set up by establishing around with Jai and having Corey Clement mix in. Those guys need to dominate the touches in the backfield. I do not want to see LeGarrette Blount in this damn game unless it is the 4th quarter, we're up by 10, and we're trying to bleed the clock. Other than that, no more Blount. He is an absolute drive killer, okay? Stop it. Jai has proven that he can run against the Falcons with the Miami Dolphins offensive line. Even with the banged up, even with no Jason Peters, this Eagles offensive line is probably 5 times better. That might even be going like undershooting a bit than the Miami Dolphins offensive line. So give him the opportunity. He can do some damage, which is exactly what we need to happen. Going to point number 3 is the Atlanta Falcons have played down to their competition countless times this season. I don't really want to take shots at the Eagles, but the Eagles are kind of limping in the playoffs right now. And the Atlanta good thing is that every time the Falcons play a team that's, you know, a little bit shaky or an underdog, they usually play down. They don't blow them away, and you know that kind of plays into the kind of the storyline, the tagline that there's no way in hell the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be able to trade touchdown for touchdown with the Atlanta Falcons. It's not going to happen. It's going to have to be an ugly game like 3/4 of the wild card games that we saw this weekend, and there's no way that it shouldn't not be that. You know what I'm saying? The Falcons historically, when they play like a gimme game, for example, anytime you see trap game, I think that's probably will give Atlanta Falcon fans nightmare. I have a buddy that's a Falcon fan, and anytime it's like, oh yeah, they might lose that one, they probably will, because they play down to their competition, they play up when it's a really good opponent like we saw last week against the Rams. So I think we're going to see, hopefully, if history continues and the trend continues, then we're not going to see the Falcons that play the Rams. We're going to see the Falcons that are ready to play the limping into the playoff Philadelphia Eagles. Going to point number 2 is that Nick Foles does not need to be 27-2 Nick Foles. There's a lot of talk that, oh man, whatever, maybe a couple bad games from Foles, but you just give him that time, give him the tape, give him prepared properly. He could be that 2013 Nick Foles that was, you know, debatably in the MVP race for a little bit. He doesn't even need to be that. Just don't be the Nick Foles that we saw the last 2 weeks. You don't even have to be the 4 touchdown, no pick Nick Foles we saw against the Giants. Just be like the median of that. Against the Raiders that were able to win, Nick Foles had, I'm pretty sure he had a pick, and he had 1 or 2 dropped pick sixes. So he could have very well had 3 interceptions, 3 costly turnovers. Against the Cowboys, threw an absolutely horrific interception in his opening drive. All we need Nick Foles to do is not turn the ball over. If we establish a run, like I said, with Jai and Corey Clement, Nick Foles, all he needs to do is just move the chains. That's it. We don't need him to have a 40-yard touchdown. We don't need him to try to keep up with the Falcons' high-scoring offense, because it's going to be an ugly football game. We don't need Nick Foles to throw it for 30-some attempts, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns to win this game. We just need him not to turn the ball over. And especially with the Atlanta Falcons defense playing as hot as they are right now, You know, don't test him. You throw a sloppy ball over the middle, Deion Jones is going to pick it off and take it to the house. Throw a sloppy deep ball, Brian Poole, Keanu O'Neal, or Desmond Trufant is either going to, you know, force an interception, or more so in Keanu O'Neal's chance, he's got to take the head off of one of our skilled position players and force a fumble. Just don't turn the ball over. Play a clean game. And number one, underdog mentality. How perfect for the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that's consistently been underdogs. They're the only number one seed team in NFL history that's an underdog. You know, that might not mean a lot. Like, to the fans, you know, it's something to get rowdy about, but you better believe the players are, that's disrespecting the Philadelphia Eagles. That's disrespecting the 13-3 season, and these guys are going to be extra motivated to play their asses off. And that's exactly what you want to see, because really, when you watch our defense, when they're playing well, they are right there. They are a top 3 defense in football. They are a defense that can carry this team to a Super Bowl. But when they play bad, it's like the mentality that they're not trying. It's missed tackles, lack of focus, lack of execution. That is not going to come from a team that is feeling disrespected by the rest of the league and feeling disrespected by really football in general. You know what I'm saying? So that is a positive. And an underdog mentality, man, like I said, underdogs, when they win games the way Philadelphia is going to have to play to win. They're going to be tough. They're going to, you know, it's not going to look pretty, but they're going to run the ball and play good defense. And that is really, you know, their only chance Philadelphia has of moving on. If I'm not a betting man, I probably wouldn't put money on my Eagles, but I'm sure as hell backing this team, man, because it's been one hell of a ride. And, you know, with the bad weather, with the fact that all quarterbacks have looked terrible in Philly in the cold weather, with the fact that Blake Bortles was able to win a game, with the fact that Marcus Mariota, with as bad as he played, was able to win a game, there is no reason why Nick Foles cannot beat the Atlanta Falcons. So my MVP prediction for this game, if we do win, is going to be Jai. He'll lead the backfield in touches. Let me know what you guys feel about this game. I know a lot of people are already counting this out. And like I said, man, I'm not expecting a win. If Carson Wentz was playing, I would be expecting a win. Dead ass. If Carson Wentz was still healthy, I'd be expecting us to make it to the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be getting out here claiming that we're going to win the Super Bowl or be Super Bowl favorites or anything like that. But I would expect that. Right now, man, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I would be happy with one playoff win right now. That's probably my expectation, I would say, is that we should be able to beat the Atlanta Falcons. But I'm not a betting man, because I wouldn't put money on the Philadelphia Eagles right now. So let me know, like I said, let me know what you guys feel about this matchup. Are you expecting the Eagles to win? Did I miss any, you know, key points that you wanted me to talk about? Let me know there. As always, if you enjoyed the video and you're excited for Philadelphia Eagles playoff football, smash that like button. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.